What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. So, in this video, I want to talk about 3 reasons why narcissists have to pick fights with you after the discard. Now, I know I didn't put that in the title, but that's what I want to talk about. 3 reasons. And that's just 3 reasons. There's so many reasons why we all know they love to pick fights. And it doesn't matter if they discard us or we discard them first. They love to pick fights. And the first reason why is because we know that narcissists love to be in control. They love to have dominance over a person. And they love to be right. They can't be any, okay, well, we're just going to agree to disagree and move on from this. No, you have to agree that they are right. That's what they want you to do. And until you do that, they will continue to pick with you. Even if they pretended to cut you off. Because if they really cut you off and they're really done with you, they wouldn't be picking with you over something so petty. They find it very hard to just let go and move on. Narcissists don't know anything about closure because they don't want closure. They want dominance and control. They want you to give in and give up on everything that you work so hard for. And continue to just give them chance after chance. Just so they could prove to you that they're not going to change. They're going to keep doing the same messed up stuff. They're going to keep hurting you, disappointing you, and letting you down. The narcissists have zero intentions on change. And so they have a hard time letting go. And they pick fights with you after the discard because they don't want to see you move on without putting up a fight, without proving to them that they're worth a fight. When you have proven yourself time and time again to show them that you wanted to be with them, that you wanted things to work out. But they know that it wasn't going to work out eventually. Eventually, they realize that you're going to get fed up and walk away. Because they're not looking to have peace within their relationship. They just want to have that control. That's what it's all about with them. Manipulation and control. So that's the first reason, is because they lost control of you. And the second reason why the narcissists like to pick fights with you is because they hate to see you at peace. You're at peace and you're unbothered. Even if you may look like you're not bothered by the breakup, because we don't just get over breakups overnight. Like, it takes a process, and it takes us a minute to even really process, what we're going through. It takes us a minute to realize, dang, it's really over with, even if we called for it, because we invested so much time and pleasure in, being with this person, and we really, really wanted it to work out. But they never really valued what they had with you. So they're going to think that, you just putting on, you just passing time. It won't be long before you're going to come running back to them. But they're in for a rude awakening when they see that it's not going to go down that way this time. You're done for good. So they have a hard time seeing you at peace. They can't believe that you're really done with them, even though they called for it. And then they're going to kind of fall back from giving you attention or reaching out to you because you're not asking for attention. You just want things to be over with. They're going to try to fall back in ways of saying, okay, well, I'm just going to leave her alone because eventually she'll come running back to me or he'll come running back to me. But it still don't work out that way. And then that's when they realize, dang, they really gone. But they're never going to say, dang, I lost somebody. They're going to think about what they've lost and think of ways from time to time on how they could get it back. They're going to try to test you to see if you're really upholding this separation from them. You know, they're going to try to test you sometimes to see where your weakness is at, that lies where your weakness lies for them. They're going to do it sometimes because they want to see if you're bluffing or do you really mean it. And once they see that you really mean it, that's when they're going to play all type of games to flaunt people in your face and all that kind of stuff. And that goes to the third reason why they like to pick fights with you after the discard. It's because they want to get a reaction out of you by doing things like flaunting the new supply in your face, making it obvious that they've moved on and they're happy. They found somebody new or they found somebody better than you. They're going to throw subliminals. They're going to keep trying to reach out to you in ways of pretending like they need to get something from you. If y'all live together, they're going to use any excuse in the world to come back around you because they need to get a reaction out of you. They want to see how it's going to feel when you see them with somebody else. And then they're going to get scared when you're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. What's a good time that you could come by? You want me to leave it out for you? Because I might not be here. That lets them know I'm not trying to see you. I know what you're up to. I know the games you're playing. But that don't work on me anymore. None of the things you do work anymore. The narcissist is going to realize that you are getting over them. And they didn't think the day would come when you would get over them. People get tired of the same old, and at some point, something got to give. Something got to get better. It can't just be the same old, I apologize. Because an apology is nothing without changed behavior. And you can preach that until you're blue in the face to the narcissist. They're not going to get it until you mean business. And you got to show them that you mean business. And you're just not interested in them anymore. And those are the three reasons why they like to pick fights with you after the discard. To regain control and dominance. And also because you're too peaceful and they got to test you to see if this is real or are you just putting on a front just to make them think you don't care anymore. But it's real. And they'll come to realize that you're not playing mind games with them because you don't even think about that. You're trying to move on. And what it is they don't want to let you move on. They want to keep getting in your face just to see if you're going for good or if they could get you back. And the third reason is to get a reaction out of you. They're gonna try to test you to see if you're gonna show a little jealousy if they bring someone else around. Or if they, come all out in the opening with the new supply. And it just goes to show they don't care who sees these things. They don't care how it affects others because the narcissists, they like to live a pretty secret life. They like to keep people separated. They're private in a way of discreet. They don't want you to really know what they have going on because they're secretive. They're very secretive. And that makes me think about something that I was watching a TikToker, and when you look into certain things on your For You page on the For You on your TikTok. So a lot of things will come up that you kind of look into or whatever. And it was talking about some of the narcissist habits. And a TikToker was mentioning some of the narcissist bad habits. And one of them was the bathroom habits and how they like to sneak off in the bathroom. It's a safe place for them to do their dirt because not only is the closed area, but they can also, lock the door. And that's where they know that they will have their privacy. Now, that's one thing that I do agree with. They do use the restroom to sit in there and do their dirty work and to browse on social media. They love to have their phone in their hand a whole while. They're in the bathroom most of the time for the phone, but they're using the restroom as an excuse to, be in there and do what they do. But when it comes to the disgusting part of the narcissist when they're hiding out, it's how they have this habit, this very disgusting habit, this trifling habit of calling you to the restroom. Like if they just so happen to always run out of tissue. Can you reach them a roll of tissue or something? Or it's like they need to talk to you about something, or just anything to invite you in that closed space. Like if you want to be there, and it tells you that just how nasty they are. Like they just don't care. They got some very ugly, nasty ways. They're inconsiderate of other people. They will interrupt you at dinner for something like that because they don't care how it makes you feel. They want you to be disgusted by how trifling they are. Like they just have these nasty habits and they don't care how it affects other people. You know, they'll call you in the restroom and they will want you to, hold a conversation with them while they're in the, like, who does that? But that's just something I want to mention real quick. That's something that narcissists are known to do, is call you into the restroom just to have you in there with them. And it's like it's telling you, I don't care how you take it, just stay in here. But like they don't care how you feel about it. Normally that's the time when a person wants their privacy and they don't want to be bothered. They don't need anyone knocking at the door. You make sure you have everything you need before you go in there, especially if you know you might be in there a minute. They may call for you to bring, the air freshener or something. Like, what? And it's just stuff like that that points out some of their traits, in ways to pick with the person to see just how much you can handle. And if you're up for it, they're going to keep doing it. Even if you call them out on it, like, man, you're tripping. What are you doing? Like, I don't want to be in here with you. What are you doing? What do you want? Well, we could talk about that when you come out. They'll laugh it off because they have a very dark humor. They find things like that hilarious. They find it so funny that they gross you out. Because who thinks like that? Only a narcissist. Even a toddler wants their privacy. When they're doing what they do, a baby, they kind of like, I know, they hide out. They may hide behind the furniture. So that goes to show a narcissist, they know what they are doing. They deliberately do things to disgust you, to disrespect you. They don't care about how something will make you feel. They'll laugh about it. If you find it disgusting, they gonna see it's the total opposite. They're gonna find it as something funny. And where's the joke in it? If you call them out for it, you can't take a joke. That's not a joke. This is not normal. It's not a joke and it's not a prank. Now, a prank would be if a person uses some type of sound effect, things like that. Like we know what a a real prank is. But that's not a prank. But they will use that as an excuse to say that you don't have a sense of humor. When they just don't have a normal sense of humor, they have a dark sense of humor. They don't see things as we do, they don't look at things as normal people. They are very disturbing and disgusting. But they love to find a problem with you because you don't see things the same way, because you don't respond to things in the way they want you to. Or they already know how you're going to respond to it and they get a kick out of that. So you just, it's so much dealing with a narcissist. Once you figure them out, it's always best to just stay far away from them as possible. That's the only way you're really going to keep your peace, because there ain't no making sense of them. But those are the reasons why they pick fights with you after the discard: for control, to disturb your peace, and to get a reaction out of you. And once all three of those things don't work anymore, they have to go back to the drawing board trying to figure out a way to make something happen. They need to shake things up. They need to let you know that, you're not going to get away so easy without giving them something in return. And it's not that you owe them anything, but they're going to always feel like you owe them something. They're going to always feel that entitlement for you because they didn't see the day coming when you walk out, when you're gone. They ain't going to never see that day coming. That's why it's best not to even let them know when you're going to make a move. They'll find out when you're gone. But when when you don't really have to deal with them anymore, and you've made it to the point where it doesn't take a lot out of you to have to communicate with them or something like that. You know, when the boundaries are set up the right way, that's when they can know when what you got going on, and they don't even have to know then. I wouldn't even share any information with the narcissist going forward, because it's none of their business. Your peace is none of their business. And you don't want to give them a reaction, because it's going to turn ugly real quick. It's going to turn into a back and forth, an argument. You're going to find yourself back in that place of explaining yourself. And they already know what they're doing. So they really just trying to trap you. They're trying to see if they can, still get you riled up. That's why it's not good to sit and think about ways to get them back. You don't need to get payback on a narcissist. All the payback is walking away and maintaining your peace. No, it's not going to always be peaceful. It all depends on your situation with that narc. But you're trying to gain peace from it. You want to deaden what you had with them. You don't want to fight with them. You don't want to waste none of your energy on the narcissist. They're going to try to get a fight out of you, but that don't mean you have to give it to them. You got to know how to fight with the narcissist. You got to know how to answer them, respond to them in certain ways. To let them know, I know what you're doing, but, I'm not dealing with that anymore. I gave you so many years of my life, and you refuse to see the wrong in you. You know, you refuse to take accountability. You would switch things around and turn it on me. You would manipulate situations, and, you just had to have control of everything until I just didn't have anything else to give, you know. But never fight with the narcissist. And never think so much. Don't get so into deep thought about how you can get them back. You definitely don't want to do that. They're not worth it. They're already catching hell, just trying to survive day by day. The narcissist is having a hard time, harder than you think they are. They just putting on a front. And by that time you decide to walk out for good, you're going to realize that. That's what's going to make it even easier for you to gain closure for yourself. The closure is for you because they're not worth fighting and sitting and thinking about ways to, I want to make them feel the pain they put me through. No, you don't. They're going to go through the pain. They're making you think they don't care, they don't feel nothing. Because if that was true, they wouldn't keep coming after you. They wouldn't keep trying to put roadblocks in your way to keep you from moving on. And think about it, you don't have that kind of heart. So those fights are going to always backfire on you. And you don't want that to happen because you don't deserve that. You didn't deserve what they put you through. But now you got to look at it, I'm gone now. You got to have a different mindset. You got to think about putting it in the past. And you got to be serious about moving on. And of course, sometimes we're going to sit and think about what we went through. But not to the point where it starts to control us in ways to where we have to try to change it. You ain't gonna never change what happened. You can just change how, you allow certain things to happen again. But you don't have that kind of heart to, treat them the way they treated you. So it's gonna always be different. You can't even begin to make yourself think the way they do, let alone act the way they do, because you got to think like a narcissist. To beat them at their own game, you got to get ahead of them. But you don't need to fight them. You don't need revenge because they're ready for that. They're going to always have time for revenge because that's a game that they love to play, and it goes on and on and on because they always have to have the last say so. They always have to make the last move. They always have to, up you on everything. It's all about dominance with a narcissist. They gotta be better than you. If they have to feel so much bigger and powerful than you during the times when you were with them, think about when you're not with them. They're gonna still look for that competition. They're gonna always have a need to come out on top. They look at that as victory, but the victory is yours because you got out, you walked away. And they know it. They feel the loss. They have to pretend like they're still winning. They put on an act. It hurts to put on a smile that they don't really feel inside. They don't really feel like that. Do you know how much of a, it's a struggle for a narcissist to even crack a smile? That's why their smiles look so forced and, like they don't really have the expression of a person who know how to show true happiness and joy. They get a pleasure out of hurting people. Like I say, they have dark humor. They find things funny that no one should look at as normal, you know. So you don't want to try to level up with something like that because you'll lose yourself in the process. And then you'll find yourself, set back from a place that you had already escaped. So don't even put yourself in a position to, just kind of see them that way. because it's not worth it. And a narcissist is going to always play dirty. They're going to play until you have nothing else to put up. And they don't care because they're not looking at, well, they're never going to look at something in a way where they feel bad. They're not going to feel bad about taking. They're going to blame you and say you made them react that way. That's why I say it's not worth fighting with them. See, they don't think like us because what they're going to do is say, well, I could get it again. And they're thinking about who they can get it from. Whatever they feel like they lost with you, all they're thinking about is a master plan or who they could get with next so they could gain all that stuff right back without putting in any work other than using their mouthpiece. They sell a good game, but they're not really living like that. They're frauds. And it's sad that it takes so long for people to really find out. But the good thing is they eventually find out. And then they don't have to deal with that anymore. And then we can warn other people about it. We could tell other people what to look for. Because the Jezebel spirit is real. And we're surrounded by it. So many people is in disguise. And we won't really get the feel of it unless we went through something with them. Like you have to be went through it with them to really be able to describe what it is. People could talk about it all day, but until you went through it, that's going to be the true awakening. And you're going to always be on guard to keep from dealing with people like that again. And ain't nothing wrong with that, because sometimes you got to change your heart. You got to guard your heart. You got to change who you are to protect yourself. Because they out to get you, and they out to suck you dry. They don't have nothing to lose. In their mind, they don't have nothing to lose because they going to gain it all back. The same way they were able to gain you. So. But I just wanted to do this very quick live and talk about 3 reasons why the narcissists love to pick fights after the discard. For dominance and control, to get a reaction out of you, and to take away your peace. You look too good to them now. You're not bothered enough by the things that they're doing. I gotta turn it up a notch. They gotta stick it to you now. I remember a narc was so angry because I had decided, okay, I'm choosing peace from now on and tuning all of this out around me. And guess what they did? She ran into my car. Because I had made my mind up that none of this is bothering me anymore. I decided not to let it bother me. Because I had to put I want to say I had to put my emotions aside, but it wasn't so much about the emotions. It's about reacting to them a certain way. So they will turn it up a notch and do something that, like, okay, I'm done. They're going to do something that you can't let slide. They're going to do something to where you might have to call the authorities. Something like that. I don't got to put the police on. Because you gone too far. Like, what is the problem? I have you looking at them like, you really is crazy, huh? you know? Like, I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt because I've been doing so good. But then you come and do this? Yeah, someone ran into my car. because I was ignoring her to the point where I wouldn't give her a response. People around me was just like, "You good, you good," because I woulda. I was ignoring them too. And then some of them would be like, "You doing good." I would do the same thing. I wouldn't say nothing. Let her talk to herself. And she was just so angry. It's like she just lost it. And she decided to take her big bold self outside and get in her car and run into mine. Deliberately ran into the side of my car, pretending like she went out to move her car and repark it. And she backed in, and when she backed in, then boom, she hit mine. And I mean, it was a ugly mark. And she bagged on in. And the dead giveaway was the silence and the way she was, being very distant and just different, you know. And when I went out and noticed my car, I already know it was her. Then the guilt, I guess, they don't like to feel guilty, so they always have to be quick to try to put it on somebody else. I mean, they have to put it on you. They're going to blame you for the damage they caused you. You're at fault for me reacting that way. So she was like, I just want to let you know that I did not hit your car. Well, I wasn't even thinking about that until you brought it to my attention. But you really gave me a dead giveaway. You gave me the first clue when you walked in the building, and your whole energy had changed. Because she had been on one all day before the sun was up. So narcissists will take it to that level of trying to get a reaction out of you. You're too peaceful, you're too distant, you're too far gone from them, and you feel out of reach. So now they got to do something that's going to make you say something to them. They need you to get at them so that they can say you're picking with them, you're the instigator, you know. So that gives them the fight that they've been looking for. And that's what they wanted. They wanted to fight all along. And then turn around and pretend like they want peace. And they don't want peace. It's just a pattern. The things they do is the same old pattern. They're going to pretend like they want peace now. I didn't want it to come to this. I did not want us to be like this. Okay, we didn't have to be like this. I was good. You don't like to see me being like this at peace. So you had to do something to make me react and say something to you. Those are the type of games they play because that's how they operate. They ain't doing nothing new. They want you to keep falling back in the same old trap. They carry the same trap with them for different people, you know. But again, y'all, I'm going to go ahead on and end it here. And for those of y'all who watched the video, thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for watching. I hope you liked the video. Like, share, subscribe. Leave y'all thoughts down below. Let me know. I'm pretty sure y'all dealt with narcissists just picking with you for nothing. Because they can't control things anymore. So they got to pick with you. But again, I want to thank y'all for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Leave your thoughts down below. And I will see y'all in the next one.